The woman we see is not exactly the mother we want you to be. Because as you become bait, it's unacceptable to me because what you wear attracts a particular fish from the sea. And they don't treasure what they have. They spend all their silver and gold wherever they go. So don't accept a deposit from a man who has no intentions to buy, because your home to them is a hotel where they intend to stay for the night, with no plans to return. Then you'll be left hurt, wondering if this is what you really deserve. So please, mum, respect yourself. Because what would you do if your son brought home a woman like you? Or if your daughter brought home the kind of guy who hurt you before? Don't make our lives hard because you prefer the easy way, because so far you've made it seem that way. So don't be afraid of change and leave your old lifestyle behind you.
Teaches you your worth and your value in life and directs you on the right paths on which you want to go. They also teach you how to have courage and integrity alongside the importance of family and passion, and allow you to pursue your dreams to the best of your ability while giving you their guidance and protection. Fatherhood to me is also someone who teaches you how to love people, how to love what you do, and how to be excellent and fulfill everything you want to do.
I wonder if subconsciously your lack of love is because he's your darkest son. So you never feel the need to compliment light, because in your eyes, he never shines. But what do you expect when you constantly put your son down? Therefore, it's no surprise why others find their peace of mind on a rainy night, because they're convinced they can't be harmed by the things outside, because nobody wants to be under the weather. But the longer you carry this weight, the cracks begin to show when your confidence breaks. Now we can see the role experience plays. But I've noticed how you have high tolerance. But can you still spot the difference of when to stay afloat or cover the distance, or to jump off board because your ship is sinking? See, it's great that you can stand in a shallow end, but there's another test where things get deeper. You're not always given a second to take a breather. So now in the midst of things, you seem to think you can save your missus, but no one taught you how to swim, and you weren't birthed out of a C-section. So now daddy's little girl is still hurt by the absence of her father, but what she lacked for by him, she now looks for in a partner, knowing fully well that that's not the answer. So now mommy's little boy is still coy on his feelings due to the denial of his mother, but what he lacked for by her, he now looks for in others, knowing his lack of healing will cause others to suffer, but he can't help but hurt those he claims to love, and it's the same for mum. So even though they're both seeking for change, they find themselves repeating mistakes. So unfortunately, for both generations, this separation may lead to them never experiencing liberation. So what am I gonna do now? I mean, my mum didn't grow up with her parents, so she was basically an orphan. And my dad had to flee home when he was 15 because there was a civil war, so I guess that makes him an orphan as well. Then somehow they cross paths and they have me. Now the problem is, neither of them had a father in their life, so neither of them were actually free. So now I grew up in a single parent household. My mom's playing Congolese music and R&B, and if you know, that's a very deadly combination. But then as I get older, I start watching African American romance movies. And I sort of become Mr. Romantic, as well as being Americanized. So now it's like, because I haven't really experienced family to its full potential, now I'm trying to fill that void that my parents have left. So obviously, you know, listening to the R&B music and the movies, you're trying to be Mr. Romantic. So the first void I'm trying to fill is the one my mum left. So now I'm out there, I'm doing my thing, you get me? Yeah, man's being smooth, innit? But the problem is, not everyone wants to be romanticized. I hope that's a word. Worst case scenario, they don't want to be romanticized by me. So in those type of situations, when you don't value something, you disregard it. So obviously, I spent a lot of time being hurt. And obviously, as I said in the beginning, my parents weren't free, therefore I wasn't free, which then meant now that I'm hurt, I'm gonna end up hurting people. But in order to produce a good crop, the farmer has to be able to nurture the seed. So it wasn't until I met the gardener. So before I get into the next piece, I need a female volunteer. Just to, I'm saying, well, who said that? Just for that, whoever said it. She said that. Actually, just face me.
I'm scared.
That's right. You don't need to be scared. It's not. How do you know she's not the gardener?
Oh, let's see where you were.
Wow, that's mad. The eagle that can spot the wolf in the pack. Now that's an eagle with vision. The eagle who many consider as high and mighty, but for me, an eagle who listens. A rare breed. You can never find a bird like this. One who's willing to put it all on the line, a bird that likes risks. Because I was the guy that knew everyone's weakness, but God knows how many times I took the piss. See, I weren't no free willy. I just learned how to control things. To my family members, my state of being remained a mystery. And to my friends, my brain was way too complex for them to begin to comprehend. So for the sake of socialization, very few kept wolves as pets. So for part of my life, I was the known guy, but not known as friend. So now, the lone wolf has developed feelings for the eagle. I can't do this no more. Suppressing feelings for the sake of friendship when I know I want more. As I gain more access, I see another side to you. As we indulge in this trust game, I feel inclined to ride for you because I want to be there. The moments before you apply your smile to cover your tears, I want to be there. The seconds before you apply your makeup to cover your scars, I want to be there. I want to see your real character, all the roles you fulfill in the life of others, from admin to lawyer to mother. And yeah, there's been times when I've seen you in labor, and it's true. There's something beautiful about mother with child, but I think it's time someone done you a favor. Because whenever you approach me with news, I'm hoping I have the tools to nurse your wounds. Because as you carry those loads, you've done well to cover your windowless home. And I don't mind picking up glass, just so I can see the woman of old. Because not every man can love the woman who's stoned. So feel free, lay your fragile heart in the palm of my hands. Because I've learned to pull strings by a harpist. Where we don't lay flowers by your graveside, nah. We sow words by your bedside. Turn your dark room into a garden, the place where I've seen you blossom. Because as those petals fell, they began to ignite a smell. And I love your aroma. I just hope I'm courageous enough to cross your borders. But the reason why I'm yet to submit my application is due to complications. Fear of losing what we already have. And I know it sounds like a drag, but even a personal shopper needs to secure the bag. Yeah, it sounds all lovely, innit? But I told you guys in the beginning, I was listening to R&B music, Congolese music, watching African American romance movies, so I wanted to be that guy. But you see, the problem is, I'm the lone wolf and she's the eagle. So naturally, you would think, rah, like, isn't the lone wolf meant to be prey to the eagle? So for me to get to this point where I actually tell her how I feel, yeah, it takes a lot of courage, but everything won't necessarily go according to plan. So, although I might have got what I wanted in the beginning, there comes a stage in your relationship called downhill, and not a lot of people make it back from there. So, hoping you're unaware of the consequences of the last sentencing. Otherwise, you would have picked up on the fact I hate mixed messages. But there's no time to read between the lines due to the complexity of what I see what's in your eyes. So you were once a broken girl. Well, meet a broken guy. But only if you knew what happens when you try to piece them together, it usually formulates a work of art. So I guess it makes sense why art is sometimes deemed as complex, but I won't be deceived by your home decor. For I know there are skeletons you are hiding, hence why I'm inclined to do a further study on your silence so I can read when your smile is disguised for crying. Because you know there are some of us men who have come across broken hearts that we're convinced we can easily mend. And I know that's far from the truth, but it's not about whether I complete your piece, but whether this image makes sense. But you want to know why we disregard butterflies? It's because we forgot the days when we were grounded. But with such cheap mates rates, how do you expect us to build houses? So when you come across broken homes and poor renovation, there probably was no installation, hence why sales don't exceed expectations. But you know what's really mad? Is when we read tabloids like men are trash. All I'm saying is like, let's not assume these things. I'll admit, my behavior can be disgusting. Like when I deceive girls with I love you just because you're buff. Like we never discuss the same players being loaned out to different clubs, but now that hole down your spine has left you opened up. And that's when poachers strike. So I know you're sitting there thinking I'm just a guy, but no matter my position, I still have to do what's right. And that's what happens sometimes, you know, like, obviously being hurt, not fully getting what I want. I have the opportunity to be a striker, but naturally, I'm a defender. But as you move more upfield, and you're getting closer to that position where you have to strike, your aim is just to get the ball in the back of the net. Oh, there's so many metaphors, I apologize. It's not intended, but that's what my life was like. So, as I come to my last piece, I don't know how many females in this room have been hurt by a guy before. And I don't know if they were ever able to tell you what they went through. Well, this is going to be the first time you hear it. You see, when you graduate from boys to men, eventually you make it to the end of the road. I could have got away with it, but I didn't. Instead, I chose to hand myself in, even though you were the only person who witnessed the crime I committed. But after spending 6 months of remand, I was expecting a charge, while some advised that I leave behind this life of crime because I could have been serving anything up to life. But all that time I spent, I can't get back. Neither want to change my identity to protect man, but I just want to take a million steps back because me being released is the real setback. But I'm not ashamed of who I am or what I did, because I thought I knew who you are and what this is. But you showed no evidence when there were questionings, so the case was dropped due to a lack of evidence. But I saw it in your face. You plan to bail out, and after all we've been through, you're gonna change. I can't believe this. I trusted you. After all we've been through, I stayed loyal to you. I never told a soul what you put me through, or told anyone what we went through. The things we do for love. I was lost for words when I saw it was you that used the gun. Now I question whether you were ever in love. It no longer holds a smell. Now it's losing color. It's been like 9 months in hell, but you know that one rose was worth a dozen. But when you told me what you'd done, I knew all your feelings were gone. All your love for me was lost, and I questioned why I went wrong. I thought I had a pot of gold, but little did I know my mind was blown before my heart was broken and my mind had blown. So after the first breakup, there was no time for growth, but when you cheated, I knew your pride was sold at a cheap price. But I don't regret being the only one there during your peak times. See, that was just the actions of an irresponsible individual. So what? You think all guys are predictable? Well, guess what? If you think we're the same in every way, you're dead wrong. I mean, don't roses come in varieties, different color shapes and sizes. You know good guys are a minority, but I guess many florists need to be reminded. But anyway, back to the matter in hand. It was never easy being your man. When you were going through your issues in life, I went and put all my problems aside, because that's what happens when you're playing husband and wife. It was my role to be there for that woman of mine and vice versa, because you were meant to be the love of my life and partner in crime. But now the rose is no longer red, but the violets is still blue. But if your rose was looking like death, what exactly would you do? Because when the transfer window reopened, you were back at the club. But when the going gets tough, some people panic and run. Yeah, the grass may be greener in other places, but I tried to paint you this perfect picture. So the only reason I brought you to the field of dreams was so your experience could be a little more different. But the only reason that there's ever going to be a revival is because a rose that grows from the concrete knows more about survival. Well, I've been Poetry by Tony,
Yes, sir.
your featured artist for this month's Poetivity. So I had to attempt to bring some poetry and consciousness to it. I hope you've been inspired, entertained, and educated. If you're not following me, make sure you follow, because there's a lot more things coming out soon. And yeah, man, thank you. You guys have been amazing.
Make some noise for Poetry by Tony.